kind of billionaire spends $50 million on a wedding just to end up getting roasted by the internet? Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez didn't just tie the knot. They launched a full-blown media spectacle that felt more like a red carpet PR stunt than a celebration of love. From renting out a private island in Venice to packing it with A-listers, private jets, and enough designer fabric to smother the fashion industry, everything about this wedding screamed, "Look at us," and people definitely did, but not in the way they hoped. So, was this really about love, or was it the launch of a new image, a desperate rebrand, and a last-ditch attempt to become America's next power couple? Let's break down what actually happened behind the scenes of the most bizarre billionaire wedding of the decade. You don't rent out an island in Venice unless you're planning to make a statement, and that's exactly what Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez did. Not just any statement, but a full-blown billboard screaming, "We're elite, watch us shine." But it didn't feel romantic. It didn't even feel exclusive. It felt produced. Everything from the velvet ropes to the camera angles looked like it was ripped straight from an award show, with guests paraded out like cast members in a blockbuster movie. And the real kicker? Lauren Sanchez wasn't just the bride. She was the director, producer, and star of the entire performance. Right before the wedding, her Instagram was practically a ghost town. Barely a few hundred likes on posts, despite having over 1 million followers. Suspicious? Maybe. Then, boom, wedding hits and suddenly she's Vogue cover ready. All her old posts wiped, just 2 polished, perfectly timed photos left behind. It felt less like a love story and more like a relaunch. This wasn't a wedding, it was a branding campaign. And as one person put it bluntly, this entire thing feels like Amazon Prime's take on royalty. The only problem? No one's buying the subscription. Here's the thing. When your guest list includes Leonardo DiCaprio, Oprah, the Kardashians, Tom Brady, Usher, and Sydney Sweeney, people are going to start asking questions. Like, did these celebs really show up because they love Jeff and Lauren that much? Or was something else going on behind the scenes? Reddit exploded with rumors. One user flat out asked, "Do you think Jeff Bezos paid all those celebs to come to his wedding?" And the replies? Brutal. And kind of believable. Some claimed there were no straight-up cash handouts, but the favors had to be massive. Others guessed private jets, 5-star hotel suites, and luxury perks were handed out like party favors. One person even joked, their travel and hotels were probably handled too. Amazon Prime delivery, billionaire edition. And that might not be far off, because nothing about this guest list made sense. These people don't even move in the same social circles. It looked like someone picked names off a tabloid and called it a party. The theory? Lauren was building a fantasy, a celebrity mixtape. Every famous face at that wedding wasn't just a guest. They were a prop in the perfect Instagram post. But that wasn't the whole story. If this wedding was a movie, Lauren Sanchez was the main character. And let's be honest, she wasn't playing herself. From the moment she stepped off that boat, it was clear she wasn't just trying to look good. She was trying to transform. The dress? Dolce & Gabbana, tight enough to show every curve. The hair? Flawless. But the face? That's where things got complicated. People online were asking the same thing. Did she get work done? Because something looked different. Not bad, just unfamiliar. Almost like she was chasing the Kardashian aesthetic. Heavy glam, sculpted everything, and a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Some viewers said it straight up gave Cat Lady meets Catwoman vibes. Harsh? Maybe. But when you're positioning yourself as the new queen of billionaire glam, the public's going to look closely. Too closely. And then came the Vogue cover. Yep, Lauren scored a solo wedding dress shoot in Vogue. The same week, the legendary Anna Wintour reportedly stepped down. Coincidence? Probably. But some folks have a theory that this wedding, this circus of designer drama and celebrity overload, was Anna's final straw. The moment she decided Vogue had jumped the shark. Because even with all that money, all that planning, and all that shine, something about the whole thing felt hollow, like it was built to impress Instagram, not celebrate a real relationship. But it wasn't just Lauren who caught heat. The hypocrisy at this wedding went even deeper. and it starts with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio says he cares about the planet. Climate change, carbon emissions, environmental justice, it's been his whole brand for years. So why was he chilling at a $50 million wedding with the exact same billionaire elites who could actually make a difference, but don't? Let's talk about it. Leo showed up with his hat pulled down so low it looked like he was trying to dodge facial recognition, not a single clear pic of him getting off the boat. People online were roasting him, like, you preach to the world, but now you're ducking the cameras like it's a crime scene. Even worse, he wore that same low-key cap to the actual wedding. At one of the most high-profile events of the year, the dude dressed like he was headed to Whole Foods. Someone joked, "She's 26. And yeah, if you know, you know. Another commenter nailed it. Save the planet for Prime members only. This is the same guy who made Before the Flood, a full documentary begging people to take climate change seriously. And now he's sipping champagne with Jeff Bezos on a boat parade of private jets. It's like all his values took a backseat the second he got a VIP invite. No speeches, no stances, no awkward moment where he tries to explain why he's even there. Just silence. That's the kind of silence people remember, the kind that makes all your big causes start to look like marketing. And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, the guest list kept delivering. This wedding wasn't just a flex, it was a fashion battlefield, and no one came out clean. Khloé Kardashian showed up in what looked like a pink parachute mid-deployment. Puffy, oversized, and so suffocating, you'd think she was trying to escape the event inside her dress. Someone online said, she looks like she's sneaking off to break into the cake early, and honestly, they weren't wrong. Then there was Kim. Tight dress, signature glam, same look we've seen 1,000 times. But this time, no smile, no spark, just stone-faced boredom like she'd rather be anywhere else. It was giving contractual appearance. Kylie Jenner? Her dress might have been bold if it didn't look ripped. Intentional or not, it gave off chaotic bridesmaid energy. And to make it even weirder, it looked eerily similar to Lauren Sanchez's wedding gown. Talk about awkward. Even Kris Jenner got dragged. People were hyping her gown, until someone dropped the shady comment, "She looks great, but she does look her age." And that was just weeks after everyone was raving about her fresh new facelift. The internet turns fast, and these celebs know it. And let's not forget Sydney Sweeney. No one knew why she was even there, but she showed up like it was senior prom at Macy's. Still, she pulled it off with that innocent girl-next-door charm. Definitely didn't fit the billionaire crowd, but she stood out, and maybe that's what mattered. Meanwhile, Oprah stuck to her go-to palette. Purple tones, soft glam, looking fabulous as always. Usher came through in a sleek, Skims-adjacent look, pulling it off with quiet confidence. But again, why was he even there? This wasn't a guest list, it was a fever dream. Celebs who've never been seen in the same room suddenly clinking glasses over champagne and fake smiles. It didn't feel exclusive, it felt stitched together by a publicist with a Pinterest board. But somehow, the wildest part wasn't even what they wore. It was what Lauren did after the wedding. Lauren Sanchez didn't just marry a billionaire, she married the spotlight. And just in case anyone missed the message, she made sure the details screamed it. Let's start with the ring. Not the engagement ring, the wedding ring. Because apparently the first one wasn't big enough. Days after the wedding, eagle-eyed fans noticed something different. A new ring. Bigger, flashier, and easily 3 times the size of the original pink diamond. It wasn't a wedding band. It was a statement piece. Like she skipped tradition and went straight for the Marvel Infinity Stone status. And no shade, but if your ring covers half your finger, it stops being jewelry and starts being real estate. But that's the thing with Lauren, every move feels calculated. She's not chasing elegance, she's chasing a brand. From wiping her Instagram to coordinating her Vogue debut with the wedding rollout, it all feels less like real life and more like a scripted reboot. Remember, this is someone who once worked the grind as a news anchor, hustled hard, and now she's living in full-blown billionaire Barbie mode, never lifting a finger again, unless it's to adjust the lighting for a photo shoot. Even the wedding photos were a vibe. Staff awkwardly lingering in the background like NPCs, just waiting for someone to say, "You're free to go now, Miss Sanchez," and she let that pic be published. That's how deep the aesthetic goes. Everything, from the guest list to the outfits to the carpets, was picked to project wealth and power. But the result? It looked more like someone trying too hard to look important. And while Lauren was busy curating her queen of the world persona, The rest of us were side-eyeing the whole event like, you spent $50 million on this? Which brings us to the real question. Was any of this worth it? $50 million. That's how much this wedding reportedly cost. Some say it was $48 million, others say more, but at that level, what's a couple million here or there? You'd think for that kind of price tag, it'd be unforgettable, but not in the way it ended up being. Because instead of praise, the headlines read like roast sessions. People weren't impressed, they were embarrassed for them. There were 90 private jets tracked leaving the event. 90. All that environmental guilt Jeff and his billionaire buddies like to brush off? Yeah, it circled Venice like a carbon cloud. Even TikTok blew up with clips of the guest departures, sparking comments like, why are we fighting over school lunches while these people are playing musical chairs on private jets? The contrast wasn't just uncomfortable, it was offensive. Meanwhile, back at the wedding, the infamous gray carpet made another appearance. Some people swore it looked just like the floor from Amazon's Seattle HQ. Not kidding, they said it gave corporate office chic more than luxury wedding. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Then came the kicker, Lauren on the cover of Vogue, solo in her wedding dress. That's usually a moment reserved for icons, royals, legends, not the woman who just turned her wedding into a $50 million influencer launch. Some even speculated that Anna Wintour stepped down because of this. Like, this was the bridge too far. A final I'm out after watching the fashion Bible turn into a billionaire promo brochure. And honestly, you can't blame her. Because somewhere between the rented island, the staged photo ops, and the oversized rings, this whole thing stopped feeling like a love story and started looking like a midlife marketing campaign. But Bezos and Lauren weren't done yet. Not until they tried to crown themselves America's new royalty. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez didn't just throw a wedding. They staged a $50 million fantasy. A glossy, camera-ready spectacle that looked less like a celebration of love and more like a pitch for a reality show we never asked for. And the wild part? They seemed completely fine with that, maybe even proud of it. From the overpriced dress that looked more winter gala than Venice summer to the guest list stacked with celebrities who clearly had no idea why they were there, every detail screamed desperate for status. Not elegance, not intimacy, just optics. And what did it all really achieve? A brief splash in the news cycle, a Vogue cover, some savage Reddit threads, and a lot of people wondering how two of the richest people in the world could spend so much and still seem so out of touch. One commenter said it best, "The number of lives that could have been changed with the money they burned on this wedding makes me feel sick." Because while they were flying guests around on private jets, regular people are still out here fighting over whether kids deserve free lunch or if seniors can afford medication. That's the part they'll never fully grasp. You can't fake relatability with designer gowns and billionaire fireworks. You can't buy respect with a wedding budget that rivals most Hollywood movies. And no matter how shiny the ring, how famous the guests, or how curated the photos, at the end of the day, this whole thing felt like two people trying to brand themselves as American royalty, without earning a single ounce of the grace, charm, or legacy that title requires. So was it a celebration of love, or just the most expensive content drop in influencer history? You tell me.